So, hi everyone. My name is Kathy Lefevre. I'm the moderator for this room, all the computer science room today. And you are in session 3, which I typed in there in the chat. It's called, actually, it's right there on the screen, Making CS Thrive in Your Rural School. And today we have with us Lori and Leah. And I'm just going to tell you a little about Lori, and then I'll have Leah tell you about her, or they can both talk about. But Lori is a PD specialist. I also know that Leah is the director of PD over at CodeHS. Prior to coming to CodeHS for Lori, she spent 20 years as a district technology coordinator and high school computer science and CTE teacher in a rural K-12 district. As a NCWIT Aspirations and Computing Award recipient, Lori continually strives to help women and underrepresented populations find their voice in computer science. So I'm going to turn it over. So Leah, go ahead and talk a little bit about you because I don't have your bio. So go ahead.
That's fine. Thank you so much for the introduction. And following Lori's intro, mine is, not nearly as impressive. I taught computer science for 7 years, taught in the public schools for 14 years, and then found CodeHS around 2018. Started on the curriculum team, went to the PD team, and now I'm the director of the professional development team. And I get to work with a lot of really wonderful PD specialists and other great people at CodeHS. So very excited to be with you all here today, especially for this session, because like Lori, rural students are near and dear to my heart, and we want to do everything we can to help them.
Thanks so much, Leah. Leah and I have worked together for almost 4 years, I think. Oh my gosh, I just realized where that time has gone. That's crazy. So I'm so excited that we could be here with all of you today. And thank you so much, Kathy, for the intro. So I have been in computer science for a long time. But a little nugget about me too is that I actually started in ELA. And so if we've got teachers who have not started in computer science or technology, and you're feeling like, oof, this is a rough field, I don't know if I should be doing this. Yes, you should be. I avoided it so much before I actually started at my school district, and I absolutely found my passion. And rural CS in particular, and really making sure that all students have access to and the ability to participate in computer science and learn how it can empower their futures is a passion of mine. So I'm so very excited to be here with all of you today. And I hope that I'd love to hear your thoughts too as we go today. If you have things you want to share, please throw those into the chat. We definitely love to start conversations. I do have the link for the slides up on the screen right now. So you can see the QR code over here on the right-hand side. If it's easier to scan that, you sure can. Or you can access the slides at codehs.com/nv-rural-cs. And Leah has tossed that link into chat, so you can click that easily. I'll leave this here for just a second if you need to grab a picture of that or whatever you'd like. You also do have our email addresses here as well. We are more than happy to answer any questions after conference sessions or PDs or whenever. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to drop us an email. This is probably my favorite part of my job, is being able to work with other educators and get to know other educators. I love the connections that we make, and as CS teachers, that's something that we all need, especially as rural CS teachers. I think that's one of the big issues for us, is that we're even more isolated often than other maybe more urban schools are. All right, and as we're getting settled in for our session today, I would love to know who is attending the session today. So if you'd like to take a moment to just in chat, tell us, where are you joining from? What's your school? Where are you teaching at? What do you teach? And what brought you to this session? I'd love to hear a little bit more about you. I truly believe in the power of connection, not just for our students' education, but for teachers as well. We need that support. And so we like to make a real community of learners, and that's part of why we're here today too. So welcome everybody. Hi, Lloyd. It's so good that you could be here today. You're teaching cybersecurity and CS at Shadow Ridge in Clark County. Awesome. Stacy, hello. So nice of you to join us today. Gifted Ed, cool, or Gifted Ed. Natalie, I'm so glad you could be here today. 4th grade, awesome. Wonderful. I was lucky enough in my rural school district to be K-12. And so while I was, the entire time I was there, I was a tech director, but I was a high school computer science teacher for 10 of those years. But I also got into the middle schools. I started doing middle school classes as well. And I was especially excited to get into the elementary as well. Hi, Sherry. Hello, Bridget. So glad you could join us. Hello, Veronica. Welcome, welcome. Hello, Michael. Math, 5th grade. That was right about the time that math started to make me panic. So I think there will always be something in this former English teacher who panics just a little bit. But welcome, everybody. Go ahead and keep tossing your intros into chat. Oh, cool, Lloyd. Awesome. So you've used CodeHS, and thank you so much for the compliment. I love CodeHS. I used it for a long time in my own classroom, and it was transformational. That is why I am here today. Oh, for 7 years. Awesome. Lloyd, I'm so excited you could be here with us today. Cool. Hi, Jen. Awesome. And the really cool thing is that CodeHS doesn't actually adequately describe us anymore, because we actually do have an elementary platform as well now too. So really cool stuff. I took CodeHS into my elementary, into the upper elementary. So awesome. So good to have all of you with us today. Thanks, everybody. Okay, I'm going to post another link here. If you have never tried out CodeHS, we would love for you to go ahead and sign up for a free teacher account. Elementary teachers, it's going to look a little bit different here because this is really the middle school, high school platform, but there's still so many cool things you can check out here. And I think that are actually applicable to lower levels as well. So definitely take a moment. You can sign up for a free educator account at codehs.com/sign up. I'm going to leave this here for just a moment. And I'm also going to mention that for CodeHS, there is a free version and a pro version. Now, the pro version has a lot of amazing stuff. But what I will say about the free version is that we do not restrict any of those middle school, high school courses at all. You have access to the full curriculum. So everything that you see in the catalog that I'll show you in just a little bit, and that includes all of the Nevada courses that we've created as well. All of those are fully accessible. Everything in that catalog is accessible to you and your students. So keep that in mind. Everything that I walk through today, that we talk about today, will be available to both free and pro teachers. In fact, I was a free CodeHS educator the entire time I used it in my own classroom. I used it with middle school kids, upper elementary kids, high school kids, and even university level education students as well. So if you are just signing up for an account today, know that we do go through a process of verification to make sure that we're only verifying teachers, we're only giving teachers solutions. So you will want to make sure to use your school email address. That will be the best way for us to make sure we verify you. And it just takes, well, it's Saturday, so a couple of days at least into next week before you would get verified. All teachers, free and pro, do get access to solutions too. That was critical for this former English teacher because I did not know how to code. So, all right. Now, one other thing here, we've got another link. This link is only going to work if you have a CodeHS educator account. So, or a CodeHS account, I shouldn't say just educator, but so if you just create an account and you would like to join our section that we created for this conference, you can head out to sign into CodeHS first, then go to codehs.com/go/NV2023. And Leah has also put that into chat as well. And that is going to enroll you in our conference section today. Now, I'm not really going to be using that a whole lot. I'm not going to show you a sample lesson, but what I did want to do is give you an opportunity to try out the content that you and your students would see. So if you are so inclined, please head out to this link once you create your account, and that will enroll you in the section. I'm actually going to take a look at the section, see if we've got any takers yet. You can see the student Lori G joined. I don't know, I heard she's kind of a slacker. She's at 0%. But if you'd like to join, you will see something that looks like, let's see if I joined it. Did I join it? Nope, that section's taught. That's all right. You'll see something that looks like this, and you'll be able to jump into the course. And what I actually included in this was everything from, what did I include in this? One of the Nevada courses. So you will be able to see everything from one of the Nevada courses that we have put together for all of you. So, and it's a really nice survey. I've been checking out the Nevada courses, and I'm so excited about what I'm seeing there. I'm just going to jump back and go into the teacher view. Oh, Leah's in there now too. I've heard Leah is less of a slacker than Lori, so. All right. And if you'd like to join that later, by all means, you can. I'm not going to make that go away. That's going to be around for you to play with. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in because I've got a lot of things that I'd love to talk about with all of you today. And I have things that I want to share with you, show you from the site. And I know there's going to be a story or two that I'm going to tell because that's just what I do. And as I'm going, if you've got any questions, don't hesitate to drop a message into chat. Let me know. I'm going to try to have one eye on chat, but Leah will also let me know if questions are piling up in there and I'm not noticing those. So definitely stop me if you have any questions. All right. So for those of you who've never heard of CodeHS, I want to tell you a little bit about who and what we are. So when you think of CodeHS, I really want you to think of the word comprehensive. We want to make sure that we are a comprehensive platform, and I need to change this slide because we do have elementary now too, but we are a comprehensive platform. We want to make sure that you've got everything you need to teach computer science to your students. And not only that, but if there are other things that you'd like to bring into your computer science classroom, we want to make sure we're flexible enough that you can do that too. So I'll show you a little bit of that today as well. So we provide K through 12 web-based computer science curriculum with online and in-person professional development. Both Leah and I, Leah's the director of PD, and I've been a PD specialist here for almost 4 years now. We do a lot of PD and a lot of free PDs as well. And we have that full software platform that has a lot of teacher tools and all of those courses and curriculum. So a little bit about how we got our start. And I always like to include this because I feel like this story speaks to me. So you can see our founders up in the top right corner of that slide. Jeremy and Zach met their freshman year at Stanford. And that is them up there. And they were both helping to teach intro to computer science courses where they actually built some of the course tools that were used at Stanford. Now, the interesting thing about their experience at Stanford was that they didn't realize how many of their fellow classmates had never been exposed to computer science. So think about that. Students coming into Stanford, the first time they had computer science or programming was as freshmen. And they just knew there's something not right with that. So many students are being excluded from learning this really fundamental skill and having their voices heard in a field like computer science and programming. And so in their senior year, 2012, they started CodeHS. So it was really started as a passion project where they simply want to spread computer science education and high quality computer science education. And so they got a van, they made it pink, and they put read write code on the side of it and began traveling. And they took 2 road trips around the US where they visited countless numbers of classrooms, hundreds of classrooms. And so many teachers have showed me pictures from those visits back in those early days of when Jeremy and Zach visited their classroom. And actually on the very top of the van, it's super small, but you can see a little dog, a little stuffed dog. That is Carol. Carol the dog is our mascot. And Carol can be whoever you want Carol to be. Carol's identity is up to you and your students. And so that is their Carol. My Carol is a little black lab, and then I have 3 roaming around my house who might bark during this session. So we'll see what happens. But that is our mascot. So that is our origin story. And our mission was, is, and will always continue to be to empower all students to meaningfully impact the future. We, as I listened to the keynote this morning talk about, representation, and listening to Brandy talk about that as well. And Brandy, by the way, is one of our amazing CodeHS teacher trainers as well. She's a good friend, and I'm so happy I could sit in on her session today. But it's so important that all of our kids have the opportunity to have a voice and to be represented in computer science and programming. And I, for one, absolutely believe in the empowering effect of computer science and what it can do for our students and our lives. And so this is and will always be our mission: empower all students to meaningfully impact the future. So as we start thinking about this session, as you all came here because you're rural teachers, or you have an interest in rural education. So when we think about the term rural, I think so often this can mean so many different things to different people, depending on where you're from, maybe even in your own state. And so when we think about rural education in the US itself, and this graph actually comes from NCES data, you can see that their school districts across the United States are broken down into a few different groups. Now, typically NCES data is broken down into suburban, city, and then rural and town might be separate, but very often those get combined into one, as it does for this graphic here. So rural and town schools make up about, I think that's around 42%, 43% of districts in the United States. That is a huge, huge percentage that would be considered rural. And if we think about those 2 classifications, rural and town, that's 2 very different definitions as well. So we can already see how much this impacts schools across the US. Now, for myself in particular, my specific experience with rural CS and rural education happens to be in the state of South Dakota. So we are a very rural state. And I would think that even if you think about our 3 largest cities, we'll call them, I actually live near the 3rd largest city in South Dakota, which only has 27,000 people in it. The entire state itself has 850-ish thousand people. So my school district was actually one of the more medium-sized school districts at 318 students in K-12. We were housed in one building. We're very geographically sparse. So I happen to be the only computer science teacher, not just in my school, but in my general geographic region. And in fact, across the state, when I first became certified to teach CS, I was one of 3 or 4 teachers in the state. And there was no requirement at that point to be a certified CS teacher, but it was very interesting to see that. But there was a huge movement pushed by teachers to become qualified to teach CS. Some of the issues that we ran into were things like scheduling challenges. We were all housed in one building. And so with our size of school, there was always one section of English, one section of math, one section of science for every grade level. And so how on earth do you bring in computer science when you're competing against a schedule that, of course, is going to favor those core classes, right? So that was one of my big challenges. The second challenge for me was funding. How on earth do I get something funded? And in a state where nothing is required. So that was another challenge. My other challenge was actually that there were times that I had 35 to 45 students in one class, and it was me. I certainly was not going to be the subject that got an aid. So it was me figuring out, how do I manage this size of a class period? So if you'd like to share anything about your school districts, because I know that this is a very different scenario than what other school districts are going to see. I know one of the designations, as I was reviewing some of the Nevada statistics, I think one of the, might have been the Rural Education Initiative, calls rural districts anything under 6,500 students. And I thought, yeah, that's so different from what I know, because that would be the size of one of our large cities in South Dakota. So if you'd like to share anything, please do that. Or if you'd like to share any of your particular challenges as we go. So a couple more statistics here, because I'm always fascinated by how rural CS schools are impacted by an exposure to CS classes or by the lack of. And it's interesting when you start to look at these statistics. This actually came from a study from Google, and you can actually see the link here as well if you'd like to check that out more. But exposure to CS classes, according to these different NCES regions, suburban has the highest exposure. Large city is just under suburban for the exposure to CS. And again, this is a nationwide statistic. But rural and small town, because again, we're combining those two, that actually, it looks like the exposure to CS isn't as maybe as bad as what we thought. It's around 53% here, I believe, 53-ish, 54, something like that. And so when you see that, it's not great because it's only half, right? But it looks like we're really trying to keep up with where everybody else is. And if I take a look at Nevada statistics specifically, and I did grab these from the 2022 State of Computer Science Education Report, that is the code.org report. You can see the link right here. You can actually see how much your state has done with computer science. By the way, I am so impressed by what you all are doing with computer science and education in general. This is amazing. And in fact, I even pulled this up just so I could reference it really quickly. This is the advocacy report, and you can see how amazing Nevada is in regard to computer science education. It is not often that you see all of those 9 policies with yeses in them, and that 95.1% of Nevada high school students attend a school that offers foundational computer science. Now, interesting thing is this was from 2022, so we know that's changing because you have a requirement. So pretty amazing. But you can see those statistics here, and you can watch that climb for access to computer science by school year. So by 21-22, y'all were at 83%. So that's amazing. When we take a look at access by geography here as well, you can see that these are also split up into those NCES designations. So we've got urban, suburban, and then rural. And you can see here that you're even at 80% for access for rural school districts, which is amazing. And again, you've got that requirement. So that number, I'm expecting that to shift again. So really amazing statistics. But now the important thing to think about here is that with rural, yes, there's access, but what are those problems that are facing rural communities? There's problems in education, of course, across the board, but with rural in particular, so often those problems get exacerbated, or there's additional problems that impact what we do in computer science or with educational technology in general. Some of the things that I think are really interesting are on this slide. So first of all, in rural communities, we really do see a lack of exposure to CS in rural communities. And that often leads to a lack of access to CS in schools, or a lack of maybe making it a priority in schools. And when I was first really getting into my research about rural computer science and rural education in general, and I thought about this, that lack of exposure to CS in rural communities. And I thought about my own community. And I am very, very rural. I live on 19 acres. I live very far from a population center at all. And until last year, it's been about actually 1 year ago that I actually got very good fiber access. I actually have a direct fiber connection on my desk, mostly because I just asked them nicely when they came out if they would just run a direct line for me, and they did. But that only happened a year ago, exactly a year ago, almost to the day. Before that, I had a point-to-point wireless connection. And that wireless connection meant that my house, my router, had to connect to a town, 40 miles to the east of me. And so that connection was horrible. And if the wind blew, which it always does, I had a terrible connection. So I was trying to find hotspots, and I had no other options for internet. I was actually lucky because there are much different areas in my state that didn't have even that kind of access. And that includes Native American communities. And we have some of the poorest counties in the entire United States. There is no access in those counties. And once I actually got that fiber connection, the most interesting thing that I found was when I did have to call for help, or I needed support, or I needed somebody to come out and work on something. I remember the first time a technician, or maybe it was the second or third time a technician came out, and he said, "We've never really gotten calls from this area before." And I said, "Well, what do you mean? Don't people need help if something goes out?" And they said, "Well, no, they didn't use it. They had it because maybe they had it bundled with their television, but they weren't using their internet access. You're the first ones who are really using it." I was blown away. So that is absolutely a thing. There is a lack of exposure to computer science. And just like our previous speakers have talked about, and we were talking before the session started, sometimes the issue is that community and other teachers just simply don't understand what is computer science. And that's part of the reason, right? There's a lack of exposure to it. So in addition, in many parts of the US, rural populations are actually growing faster than urban populations. We actually see that in some parts where I'm from as well. But at the same time, even though the rural populations might be growing, poverty rates are rising in rural communities. So we're seeing maybe a slight increase in population, but those poverty rates are going the other way. And so that alone is going to create other issues like funding issues and just issues that impact the daily lives of our kids. Those, Brandy talked about having a student who was homeless and was abandoned by his mother as a sophomore. And, we're seeing the same things in rural communities where our kids simply don't have the necessary things that they need to live, let alone worry about school. So there's some pretty significant issues impacting us. So some of those barriers that we're going to start looking at today, and there's too many things for us to really combat, but hopefully we can start to give you some ideas for how you can address computer science and give those kids access and the exposure to computer science to find a way to, hopefully improve their future success. So some of those barriers that we're seeing, of course, scheduling constraints. It's always an issue wherever you're at, but I think with rural schools in particular, it can be a huge issue. Access to curriculum and hardware. We were also talking about that a little bit. Lloyd, you had mentioned a little about your hardware too. That was an issue for me. I was always looking for ways to cut back on what we were trying to spend on hardware. And once we made that shift to Chromebooks, I thought, wow, I'm in trouble. What do I do? And I'll show you what I did in a minute here with CodeHS. Access to professional development is another issue. And I tend to look at access to PD and too many demands on teachers' times in the same way. I think all teachers have a lot of demands on their time. rural teachers in particular, I find that this group of educators tends to get a lot of hats that you have to wear. I know I definitely did as well. I was the tech director. Prior to being the tech director, I was actually the librarian. When I became the tech director, I had to keep the librarian position as well. And as the technology continued to grow, I continued to pick up more things. I eventually worked on the HVAC system. Was I qualified? No. Am I qualified? No. Now, absolutely not. I Googled things to figure out how to fix them. I live streamed. I was the live stream person for every event. So I went to so many events that I knew no children at, but that was the role that I took. And then eventually I was the computer science teacher. At that point, they did let me stop being the librarian. So that helped. But and I understand my story is not uncommon. That's what we deal with. And so how do you fit more things in? And where do you find that professional development? So often, as a rural teacher, you might be the only teacher in your district who knows about computer science, and you might be geographically far from the nearest population center. It might be difficult to find that PD or to fit in that PD in your limited time. And then, of course, funding. Funding is just another issue. Now, in a state where computer science is required and you have these amazing supports at the state level, which I'm so excited for y'all, that is amazing. But the issue still for rural teachers is funding, because you've got other things that pull on your resources as a district. You have to get kids to you. You've got to bus those kids. You've got so many other expenses that urban schools don't deal with. And so funding is still an issue for for rural teachers as well. So when we start thinking about this, I want to start by thinking about curriculum and meeting those curriculum challenges, because truly access to curriculum and hardware is one of the issues that we run into. So as we start thinking about this, I just wanted to put this page out here as well. So again, Nevada, kudos to you. You all do some amazing things in your state. And so I want to make sure that I point out the K-12 Computer Science in Nevada page here, and link that, perfect. And Leah did drop that link into chat for you. So you can see the computer science, let's see, not there. Here it is, approved curriculum. Down over here on the right-hand side of the page. So I did want to point out that as you're thinking about your computer science curriculum, you'll notice that CodeHS is found on this list. And so our courses are quickly being approved for computer science in Nevada. So I did want to point that out as well. And you've got all those other amazing resources on this page too. And I'm sure you're all familiar with this, but I wanted to make sure you saw that CodeHS is one of the approved curriculum providers. And I want to show you some of the CodeHS resources now. So this is a page that you should bookmark, codehs.com/states/NV. So even if you've been a CodeHS educator, this is a page that often gets overlooked. I know I didn't really know about the state pages, and most times when I talk to teachers, this is a page that most teachers have not seen. So if we head out to the state page for Nevada, you're going to see a ton of different things here for your state. First of all, you're going to see all of the courses that we've created for Nevada computer science. So there's a lot here. There's even a couple more that are approved that aren't specific to Nevada. So I'll show you those in just a moment. But you're going to have all these different options, and these courses are all aligned to your standards. These are all freely available. If you create a CodeHS educator account and you want to set up a course and section with these courses, you can absolutely do that. You are not restricted from any of this content. So if you want to teach Nevada computer science and applications, 80 contact hours, a semester-long course, you can do that. All of these are freely available. And if I recall correctly, yeah, this is the one, Nevada Computer Science and Applications is the course that I used in that conference section that I made. So if you want to check it out, just join that section and you can see it there. So all of these are available to you. And if I head out, I'm actually going to take a look at these. If you click these here, it'll take you out to the overview pages, but I'm actually going to show you how to get to them and how you can actually start working with them. If I scroll down this page, about a third of the way down, I'm going to click on Explore Nevada Course Catalog. I'm actually going to open it in a new link. There we go. So this is going to take you out to the whole CodeHS course catalog. And if you start scrolling through this, right now it's filtered to Nevada. I'll change that in a second. You will see there's well over 100 different courses. And I think I probably need to actually look at the number of courses because I think I'm actually saying a little low there. But right now it's filtered to Nevada. So if you take a look at the top, I can filter. You can also filter by all these different tags as well, but we're just going to take a look at the Nevada courses first of all. So we do have the middle school course, 235 contact hours. There's a ton of stuff in this course. I love this course. If we look at the sections, or excuse me, the units, you're going to see that it's a really nice survey course with some digital citizenship and cyber hygiene, programming with turtle graphics, web design, networking fundamentals. Cool. From, former network administrator. Kids actually loved this unit. Then you've got some intro to programming with Carol the dog. So you've got some really nice introductory programming modules here. ABCs of cryptography is one of my favorite modules ever. You can do so many things with cryptography with kids and they love it. So much fun. If you've never, by the way, this is total side note, not needed for this, but if you're looking for some more tangible activities for cryptography, make sure to check out the Pringles Can Enigma. You can find that online. If you can't find it, drop me an email. I'll send you the link. So really cool course. Then you're going to see all of our high school courses, Nevada Computer Science and Applications. Oh, and by the way, just notice that you're going to start to see these little ES logos. When you see that, this course is available in Spanish. We are quickly translating our courses, and you don't have to install or add 2 different courses. You add one, students choose which language they want. So really handy deal. That is not a pro feature. That is free and pro. So Nevada Computer Science and Applications, again, you can check out the modules here. Another introductory course. And then we've got a few other courses here, and these are a little bit out of order because I think this one is suggested to come first, but that's okay. Nevada Computer Science 2 is a high school course, 170 contact hours. And this one is going to get students into object-oriented programming. So if you are new to computer science or new to programming, I would say that this is definitely where it should be. It should be a later thing that kids are going to be learning. So yeah, this will include Java. Desiree, did you say that CodeHS is free for Clark County teachers? So CodeHS is freely available. The content is freely available. The courses are freely available. There is a pro plan that is available to access more of the teacher tools and things. But all teachers who sign up for a CodeHS account can create a course, can create multiple courses, can create multiple sections. You can add your students and you can use the platform for free. And all of the courses are freely available. I taught up to probably 5 classes a semester by the time I was rounding up my time at my school on the free plan. Did I want pro? Oh yeah, there's some amazing tools on pro. I never got pro, and so it worked for me. So definitely a cool thing and worth checking out. This made the difference for me. So you've got Computer Science 2, Nevada Cybersecurity 1. Oh, love that course. I am a cybersecurity freak, so that one is amazing too. And then you've got Advanced Computer Science 1, and this one is going to get students more into JavaScript. So really the sequence of events for your students are going to be starting with Python with Tracy the Turtle, doing a little bit of web design, some intro to JavaScript, then a deeper dive into JavaScript. And if they keep going, they're going to have some Java, which is perfect. They need that object-oriented programming. By the way, teachers, if any of you are feeling like, wow, I'd like to teach kids object-oriented programming, but I don't know it. Well, guess what? I didn't know it either. I also didn't know JavaScript. I also didn't know Python when I started teaching. And the way I learned it is with CodeHS. So little precursor to a thing I'll show you toward the end is that you can actually enroll in any CodeHS course as a student from here. There's a few ways you can participate in a class, but this is a super easy way to do it. That's what enroll does, and that's how you can enroll. I would not have your kids enroll that way, of course. They need to enroll in a section, but teachers, you can do that. And that is truly, truly why I know JavaScript, Python, Java. Java's the big one. I thought I would never know Java. And the reason I know Java is because of CodeHS. That is the reason I have passed the Praxis and other certification exams. So let's see. I wanted to show you a couple of other things while we're on this course catalog page. So if I change this filter, and I just want to say all, because I want to just show you all the courses real quick, you will see that we have a lot of courses. So if you got kids who really want to get into web development, one of the reasons I want to show you this too is because it's so important that we find ways to meet our kids where they are and find something that's going to spark their interest. I absolutely believe that any student can program and can learn to program or can learn computer science. But there might be a little different topic that is what appeals to them the most. So take a look at these courses, find something that works for your kids. And you can actually add that in to your Nevada course if you want. So there's a lot of ways you can do that. So there's a ton of courses here. But what I wanted to show you also, and why, oh, there it is. I was looking for the AP filter. But the AP courses that we have are also going to be they're actually on the approved list as well. So you can see all the different AP courses. If we have AP CSA teachers in the audience, you're going to be using the Nitro course. We have a couple of AP CSA courses. The Mocha course, it's an awesome course, but it's not aligned for College Board, or it's not aligned to the AP outline for AP CSA. If you've got kids who just simply might need a little more scaffolding, Mocha would be a good go-to for that. But Nitro is the course you'll want to use for AP CSA. And as a side note, if you're trying to learn Java, Mocha is the way to go. Mocha is a really great one. Latte is there's a Latte version too, but I think, let me see. So Latte is the intro course. And so that one is very introductory. It's a great course, but it's going to follow the Mocha. It's going to follow some of the content that's in Mocha a little bit more. Mocha is called an AP CSA, but it doesn't align to the College Board outline for the course. So the difference is that, what are the differences? Mocha does not use the scanner class for input, and it uses run instead of main. So yes, Leah said that better. Nitro matches the College Board units. Exactly. So I've lost all of my words. So, but yeah, so Nitro is the one you're going to want to use. And then for AP CSP, you've got 3 different options right now. You'll have actually another option soon, or next year, I think. But for now, you've got 3. You've got AP CSP in JavaScript, 1 in Python, and then you've got AP CSP Cyber. So cybersecurity is not just a cybersecurity course. It is AP CSP with either JavaScript or Python. And then it adds at about an additional 20 hours worth of cybersecurity lessons, which are amazing. So, Lloyd, I see. Latte for your CS1 kids and Nitro for your AP. That's a great way to do it. I really like that approach, because I do think Latte is scaffolded in a great way to really make Java and object-oriented programming more accessible. So perfect. Love that. All right, so those are the AP courses. Again, those are also approved. I've totally left my slides, so we'll see where I am now. You'll see all of these different courses here. So, and then I also wanted to show you here the CodeHS standards alignment tool. This again is going to be at the state page. So if you click on codehs.com/states/NV, and Leah just tossed that into chat. Oops, I got it open a few times. Now, if I scroll down, keep going to about 2/3 of the way down the page, you're going to see, first of all, a suggested pathway. So if you're not sure which course to pick, you can always take a look at this. And you'll see the standards framework tool. This is one of my favorite tools on the platform because it takes the heavy lifting off of teachers. So if you're looking for a specific standards alignment, so if we're looking for, let's look at Advanced Computer Science 1, we'll see that this one is 100%. Any of the ones where we've created courses are 100% aligned. The rest, these are all really impressive. All right, so we can see that it's how all the standards are aligned, and it's a little tiny, so I'm going to zoom in. You're going to see the standards on the left-hand side of the screen and the lesson that it aligns to on the right-hand side of the screen. So if you need to take a look at those lessons, you can definitely come in here and click the link to actually see the lesson. So super cool option. This is a really amazing tool. If you do have a pro plan, you do get access to lesson plans themselves. And those are outside of the curriculum. You still have access to all the curriculum on free, but the lesson plans are an additional resource, and they do have the mappings on those lesson plans as well. But you can always come here to see those too. So super cool option. All right, so again, you can get to the course catalog itself by going to codehs.com/course/catalog. And I did want to throw this out here too, because often when we're working with our rural kids, one of the issues is that they don't always see that connection for themselves. Like, what is computer science going to do for me? Because again, they don't have those computer science connections in their communities. So part of what we can do is think about those industry relevant programming languages that kids are going to need. And so we've got those, and many of those actually do align to some certifications that kids can take afterwards. I know we've got one teacher we've got a couple of teachers who I'm thinking of from the teacher trainer program, whose kids actually take the Oracle Java exams after they do APCSA. And they're really successful with that. I actually just had a teacher reach out to me and say, hey, my kid's just got an offer from Lockheed. So pretty amazing. So Python, JavaScript, Java, C++ is an option now, HTML5, CSS, and MySQL. And I didn't include the cybersecurity ones on here, but fundamentals of cybersecurity is actually aligned to the CompTIA ITF Plus certification. So, and there are absolutely some supports in there as well if kids are looking to take the Security Plus exam or some of the other CompTIA exams. So if you're thinking about that vertical alignment, as we need to in districts, especially small districts, well, especially in all districts, but when we're really looking at how do we encourage that participation in CS, really following those pathways. So we saw this pathway on that Nevada page. This is going to be a great way to try to ensure that vertical alignment as kids are going through computer science courses. And if you want to explore some other ones, I did want to throw this in here. I won't spend a ton of time on it, but this is a really, really new tool. It's so new that it smells a little bit new, I think, but it is a pathway builder. So if you want to take a look at building other pathways for your district, you can certainly do that here as well. Very new tool. I'm very excited about it. I happen to be a Python freak. I love Python, I love a lot of things computer science, but this is a really cool tool as well. All right, so when we're thinking about engaging our kids with authentic learning, because we've got the curriculum now, how do we engage our kids? Because it's more than about just having kids in a class. We want to get them engaged in the learning and help them find something that's going to empower them after they get out of school. So those scheduling constraints are always a problem. So even if you've got some courses that are required, how do we help kids be able to continue in their computer science journeys? So this was actually one of the ways that a friend and colleague of mine, taught computer science in her rural school. She would teach 2 classes in 1 class period. I have a feeling we have some of those teachers here in attendance today. So students are scheduled into that same face-to-face class period. So of course, we all have face-to-face classes, but now we're scheduling kids from multiple classes or multiple courses into 1 class. And those courses run concurrently. So we have to think about how can we teach those courses. Another one, and this is my own experience, is I put classes online. And this was something I actually had to approach my board about. I worked with my superintendent to make sure that this was going to work for us. And we scheduled students into CS or programming courses at the same time as their study hall. It was designed so it would be completely asynchronous. They did not have to meet with me during that class period. Now, because I was in the building, we would of course meet quite often, but there were many ways that we could do this. And I actually helped other schools do this too, where they did it in a much more asynchronous way. The teacher simply didn't see the kids. So they would meet over Zoom from time to time, but it was where students are progressing through the material on their own. Now, the reason I am showing these is because the CodeHS curriculum is what really allowed us to do this. It was so flexible that we could use all those different courses and include them in those different scheduling models. And that really helped in our rural CS schools. So one of the ways that we do this is with our online coding IDE. Now, if we had more time, I would so go into this, but that's why I would definitely encourage you, head out into the platform, join that workshop section, and you can absolutely take a look at what that online IDE looks like. Kids can code right here. They can run their code. They can read those directions, everything they need. They do not need anything else installed. Courses can also be customized. So what that means is that, let's say you've got 2 courses running concurrently. One example that I had from my own experience was I taught AP-CSP at the same time that I would teach an introductory course. So what you could potentially do is take that content. You could still have 2 sections if you want, but if you've got maybe some kids that just need a little different content, you can actually customize it and build your own course. Free and pro teachers, you can all do that. Those are absolutely things that free teachers can do as well. The only piece on this list that free teachers cannot do is copy and modify CodeHS assignments and quizzes, but everything else, you can add your own content. You can add other CodeHS content from other courses. You could even add Padlets, Flipgrids, or anything else that you'd like. You can embed PDFs if you want. Real-time collaboration is another thing that, if you're free, you cannot retake quizzes either. Thanks, Lloyd. Yeah, there's just a couple of things there in terms of customizing, but yeah, but otherwise the customization blows me away for what you can do. It was actually something I couldn't do as a CodeHS teacher when I was still in the classroom. And that's one thing that makes me jealous. I think, oh, I wish I could have done that. It would have been a game changer, but so cool. So real-time collaboration, if you haven't seen this, I'm going to give you just a quick overview. This is with the Sandbox. So this is another completely online platform or online part of the CodeHS platform. You can access the Sandbox at any time from this link in the top left corner. And I set one up. This is a Python Sandbox. This is outside of a regular course. All teachers have access to this. I am going to toss a link into chat. And if you're signed into CodeHS, please feel free to click that link, because what you'll see, oh, there's Leah, is I suddenly have a bunch of coding buddies. So AP-CSP teachers, this is a great way to have your kids collaborate on their create projects. This is actually where kids will create their create tasks. This is also where you can have kids pair program. Hi, Lloyd, I see you too. So I would love it too. If you want to come in here, you want to start typing, go for it. It is so cool. I love this feature. And I'm keeping one eye on time because I know we're getting down there on time. But please feel free. Don't be shy. You can mess stuff up. I'm totally fine with that. You could even just come in and say, hi, everyone. We'll just put a comment. There we go. but go ahead and give that a try. So very cool option, and you can disable collaboration. Every single user has the ability to use the sandbox, so students and teachers alike. Really great way to pair program and get kids engaged in that content. I'm going to leave it open, so if you want to play with it while it's not on the screen, feel free. Interdisciplinary CS. I know many of us teach other classes as well. This is still a great way to get CS into your classes. And CodeHS, if you take a look at that catalog, we have a ton of interdisciplinary courses, music and coding, sports and coding, art and coding. Oh, P5JS. If you've got kids who want to try coding, but they love art, try out P5JS. It's an amazing short course, really fun. But lots of ways that you can involve kids in those interdisciplinary projects. Coding in the Wild also. If you haven't checked out the Coding in the Wild blog, this is a really, really cool blog. Definitely have your kids check it out. And definitely check it out, because this is going to show kids the other things that they can do with coding. I know one of the things I ran into, and I'm in a very ag heavy part of, well, the entire state is ag heavy, but so many kids said, well, I'm going back to the farm. What am I going to do? Well, we found some examples of what they're going to do. And actually, John Deere was a fabulous partner for us with that. So tons of blogs here about how kids can use coding and how they will use coding and need coding. The Career Center is another more new-ish resource. This is going to be another great way to show kids what they're going to use coding for and why they need coding in their lives. And the project catalog is another great one. When we talk about that authentic learning, we're really talking about, creating those projects that are going to help connect them to their communities. And a rural community needs that connection so desperately. I also wanted to include these. These are not CodeHS resources, but these are resources that I found extremely empowering for my kids at a rural school district. And by the way, these are my kids. They will always be my kids, even though they've graduated. They sort of graduated college. That's all right. So NCWIT, if you are not familiar with it, is the National Center for Women in IT. Aspirations in Computing is their award for high school girls and those who identify as female and non-binary students as well. So they have, and actually it's open right now. So you're going to want to head to aspirations.org and take a look, because, oh, Lloyd, I'm so happy you're familiar with NCWIT. It is an amazing organization. Head to aspirations.org, sign up for an account, and then talk to your girls about applying for this award. You just need to endorse them. And this has empowered kids like I have never seen before. In fact, this young lady, this blonde gal up in the top picture, came to me as a brand new student to my district, first week of school, and said, Ms. G, I am a good student, but I'm not good at computers, just computers, and I don't like them. And I'm going to do the best I can because I don't want to fail, but I don't like them. And I said, thank you, challenge accepted. And she didn't understand. And I said, by the time you leave my classroom, you are going to love this. And this was how she left my classroom. She was an award winner. So I just got goosebumps. So I love this program. Definitely check it out. Girls Who Code, another amazing option. There are so many options for different groups in the community as well. Definitely check this out. These are two, oh my gosh, these girls were 6th and 7th graders in this picture. And the day we got the Girls Who Code t-shirts, I made every child late after lunch. We had to take pictures. So I had to go apologize to other teachers. So support for educators. In CodeHS, you can co-teach with other educators. This is so important for us to keep these connections with other educators. So free and pro teachers, you can co-teach. I use this all the time. It's an amazing tool. And I left you a little instructions there about how to add that because I knew I'd run out of time. Also, we're going to give you some links for other organizations you can jump into as well to stay connected. Definitely check those out. Attend these conferences all the time. Make sure that you are checking out any conferences that are available. And I'm also including a link for a CodeHS Slack community. that we have as well. If I see some Nevada teachers start joining, we'll start a little Nevada channel in there. So head out to codehs.com/community-connect, and you can join the Slack community. And another quick thing, this is super new, so I added this pretty last minute, but CodeHS was just approved as a continuing education provider with the state of Nevada. So I want to make sure to point that out as well. You can check out some funding opportunities here. I'm not going to go over them, but I did link everything. And I'll mention one of the funding things I did was I looked around at the any industry that was in my region. One of those, well, it was John Deere, but then the other one, big one that I used was 3M. And they were constantly able to fund so many things. I would call 3M and I would say, hey, I want to teach design and I need 3D printers. And their answer was how many? So make sure you call those providers or industry as well. Last thing I want to leave you with is this is another statistic that you can find here from a CSTA study, moving towards a vision of equitable computer science. 81% of teachers, and this is teachers in general, felt that they had influenced the growth of CS within their school and district. So do not underestimate your influence and your impact on those kids in your district. It is all about you. So, you know, share your stories with us. We absolutely want to know what you're doing in your districts because we will celebrate with you. I'm leaving you with a ton of resources. I'm a minute over, so you can check those out in the slides. And if you'd like to learn more about Pro, you definitely can do that here as well. And we know you've got some attendance certificates of your own. If you would like a certificate from us, Leah just tossed a link into chat for the CodeHS certificate of completion, and we'll make sure you get a cert there too. Okay, only 1 minute.
Okay, so I'm going to stop recording. Okay, so